Your kitchen may be the hottest room in your house, but the real problem is not the room. The real problem is the mistake modern homes make when they put every hot job inside the same sealed box. Cooking, baking, canning, boiling, frying, dishwashing, drying, steam, grease, smell, humidity, all of it, inside the house. Then we turn on the air conditioner and act surprised when it cannot keep up. That is not comfortable. That is a fight you created indoors. Old Amish and rural homes understood something modern families slowly forgot. Sometimes the fastest way to cool a house is not to cool the air. It is to stop heating the house from the inside. That is why summer kitchens existed. Not because old people had extra money, not because they wanted another cute little building, not because they were trying to impress visitors. A summer kitchen was a survival tool, a heat management tool, a fire safety tool, a food preservation tool, a work tool. It kept the hottest jobs away from the living rooms. It kept canning steam out of the bedrooms. It kept wood stove heat away from the main house. It kept smells, smoke, grease, and moisture from soaking into everything. And in the hottest months, it gave the house a chance to breathe. Modern homes lost that logic. We built beautiful open kitchens. We removed walls. We connected the kitchen to the living room, then to the dining room, then to the hallway, then to the upstairs. Then we filled that open space with ovens, burners, dishwashers, refrigerators, lights, and people. And when summer came, the heat had nowhere to hide. It traveled through the whole house. The AC fought it. The upstairs felt heavy. The kitchen stayed warm after dinner. The hallway felt damp. And the homeowner wondered why the bill kept climbing. But the old answer was sitting in plain sight. Do not bring every hot job into the house. That one sentence is simple, but it changes everything. In the last videos, we talked about the roof collecting heat. We talked about the attic storing heat like a battery. We talked about hidden attic leaks stealing cold air. We talked about attic fans pulling air from the wrong place. We talked about porch shades stopping heat before it touches the wall. But now we have to talk about a different kind of heat. Not heat from the sun, heat from your own habits. Because a house can be attacked from outside and punished from inside at the same time. That is why summer kitchens matter. They are not just history, they are a warning. The modern house did not only forget shade, it forgot separation. Old homes separated heat. A stove had a place, a hearth had a place, a smokehouse had a place, a wash area had a place, a canning kitchen had a place, a root cellar had a place, a porch had a place. The house was not one giant open container where every activity mixed together. It was a system of zones. Hot work here, cool storage there, living space protected, moisture controlled, smoke given a path, food preserved where temperature and humidity made sense. That zoning was not fancy, it was practical. Now compare that to a modern summer evening. The family comes home. The outside wall is still warm from the afternoon sun. The attic is still holding heat from the day. The AC has already been running. Then someone starts cooking. The oven preheats, the stove burners turn on, a pot boils, steam rises. The dishwasher may run later. The kitchen lights are on. People gather. Doors open and close. The refrigerator works harder because the room is hot. The range hood may recirculate air instead of sending it outside. The kitchen becomes a heat engine. And because modern homes love open floor plans, that heat does not stay in the kitchen. It spreads. Into the living room. Into the hallway. Up the stairs. Across the ceiling. Into the rooms you are trying to cool. Then the AC gets blamed. But the AC did not cook dinner. The house did. That is the heat problem modern houses forgot. Comfort is not only about removing heat, it is about deciding where heat is allowed to happen. The Amish summer kitchen teaches that lesson perfectly. A summer kitchen was often near the house, attached to the back, connected by a breezeway, or set apart as a small building or workroom. The exact form changed by region, family, money, and climate. Some were simple, some were sturdy, some had wood stoves. Some were used for canning, some for baking, some for butchering and preserving, some for washing and heavy household work. But the principle stayed the same. The hottest work did not belong inside the main living space during the hottest season. That is old logic, and it is still good logic. Now, I do not want you to hear this and think I'm telling every homeowner to build a second kitchen. No, that would be foolish. A summer kitchen is a structure. It needs safe wiring, safe fuel, ventilation, water, drainage, fire protection, food safety, permits, code, weather protection, pest control, and common sense. This is not a video telling you to drag a stove onto a porch and start boiling jars beside dry wood. That is not wisdom. That is how people get hurt. The lesson is not build exactly what the old farm had. The lesson is separate heat before you pay to remove it. That can be done in many ways. Cook earlier in the day, use outdoor cooking safely, move canning and boiling jobs to a properly planned outdoor or semi-outdoor work zone, use a toaster oven, electric pressure cooker, induction burner, or slow cooker in a place that does not overheat the main rooms. Use a real range hood that vents outside when cooking indoors. Avoid running the oven during the hottest hour if you have another option. Batch cook when the house is naturally cooler. Keep steam and moisture under control. Close off the kitchen from the rest of the house when possible. Use shade and cross ventilation wisely. That is the modern version. Not romantic, useful. Now let's talk about why the old summer kitchen was so powerful. First, it removed heat at the source. That is always stronger than fighting heat later. If a pot of water boils indoors, the heat enters the house. If that same hot job happens outside or in a separated space, much of that heat never enters the living rooms. That is not a small idea. That is the entire strategy. Second, it removed moisture. Boiling, canning, washing, simmering, and dishwashing add humidity. In a humid climate, that matters. Your AC is not only cooling air, it is also removing moisture. When you add steam to the house, you give the AC another job. The thermostat may say the temperature is fine, but the room feels heavy because humidity changes comfort. Old families did not always have digital humidity meters, but they knew the damp air. They knew the windows were sweating. They knew musty rooms. They knew the feeling of a kitchen after hours of boiling jars. They knew when the house felt thick. So they moved the thick work away from the living space. Third, a summer kitchen reduces smell and grease. Modern people underestimate this. A house absorbs cooking. Frying smells, smoke, oil, steam, spices, fish, grease on cabinets, film on walls, odor in curtains. In an open plan, the smell travels everywhere. The old separation gave the main house protection. Not perfect protection, but a buffer. Fourth, it reduced fire risk. Old cooking involved flame, wood, coal, hot metal, ash, grease, and sparks. Moving the hottest work away from the main house could reduce danger. That does not mean every old system was safe. Many were risky by modern standards. But the idea of separating fire from sleeping rooms made practical sense. Modern homes still need this thinking, just in modern ways. Correct clearances, working smoke alarms, fire extinguishers, safe fuel storage, proper wiring, ventilation. No indoor charcoal grills, no propane grills inside, no generator near windows, no improvised fuel setups. Old wisdom with modern safety. That is the only version worth teaching. Now let's talk about canning, because this is where summer kitchens become emotional. If you grew up around an older rural family, you may remember the season. Tomatoes, beans, peaches, pickles, jams, corn, apple butter, big pots, steam on the windows, tables covered with jars, towels everywhere, the sound of lids, the smell of vinegar, sugar, fruit, and heat. It was not one small dinner, it was a whole day of heat, sometimes many days. That is why canning inside a main kitchen in summer can make the house miserable. Old families often did that work in a separate kitchen or on a back porch setup because the heat was intense. It was not about convenience, it was about survival during harvest season. The food had to be preserved when it was ripe. The weather did not care if the house got hot, so the house had to be designed around the work. Modern families often forgot this because we separated ourselves from food seasons. Food comes from stores. Canning became a hobby instead of necessity for many people. The kitchen became a showpiece. But the physics did not change. Boiling water still makes heat. Steam still adds moisture. Ovens still warm the room. Dishwashers still release heat. Cooking still changes comfort. A beautiful kitchen does not cancel physics. Now here is the hidden psychological reason this topic works. Every viewer has felt kitchen heat. They may not know building science. They may not know about attic ventilation. They may not know about solar heat gain. But they know what it feels like to stand in a kitchen in July while the oven is on. They know the room that stays warm after dinner. They know the AC is running while someone says, "Do not open the door." They know the smell that lingers. They know the fan that does not really help. They know the feeling of cooking because everyone must eat, even when the house is already hot. That pain is daily. That is why the summer kitchen idea lands. It turns a normal frustration into a hidden system mistake. The viewer clicks because the title makes them think, wait, did old homes keep the kitchen heat away on purpose? Yes, they did. And that changes how you see your home. Now, we need to be honest. Not every old home had a separate summer kitchen. Not every Amish home has the same layout. Not every region used the same solution. Some used detached kitchens. Some used back kitchens. Some used porches. Some used outdoor stoves. Some used early morning cooking. Some used shade and ventilation. Some simply suffered through the heat. Old life was not perfect. Do not romanticize discomfort. But do not ignore intelligence just because the past was hard. The right way is to extract the principle. Separate heat, control moisture, vent smoke, use timing, protect the main living space. That is the useful part. Now let's build this into a modern homeowner sequence. First, identify your heat jobs. Not your rooms, your jobs. Baking bread, roasting meat, boiling pasta, canning, frying, running the dishwasher, drying laundry, making stock, sterilizing jars, using the oven during peak heat. Every home has heat jobs. Write them down. Second, ask when they happen. If you run the oven at 5 in the evening on the same side of the house that gets west sun, you are stacking heat on heat. The wall is hot, the attic is hot, the kitchen is hot, the oven is hot. The AC is already tired. That is bad timing. Old families understood timing. Work early. Cook before the worst heat. Open and close the house according to conditions. Use the porch. Use shade. Use evening air when it helps. Avoid hot work when the house is already losing. Third, ask where the heat goes. If your kitchen range hood vents outside, it may remove heat, moisture, and cooking pollutants more effectively than a recirculating hood. If it simply blows filtered air back into the kitchen, it may help with some grease or odor, but it is not removing heat and moisture from the house the same way. If there is no exhaust, the house becomes the exhaust path. Steam spreads, the smell spreads, heat spreads, humidity spreads. That is not a system. That is surrender. Fourth, ask what can be moved. Not everything, some things. Can the oven meal become a morning meal? Can summer dinners use outdoor cooking safely? Can long boiling jobs happen outside, on a stable, shaded, ventilated setup? Can canning be moved to a properly designed outdoor work area? Can a small appliance reduce oven use? Can the dishwasher run after the house cools? Can heavy cooking be batched? Can the kitchen be separated temporarily from the rest of the house? This is not about suffering. It is about making the house carry less heat at the worst time. Fifth, ask what is safe. This is where many old method videos become dangerous. Outdoor cooking is not automatically safe. A grill belongs outside, away from walls, overhangs, open windows, and combustible materials. Charcoal and propane do not belong indoors. Carbon monoxide can kill silently. Propane cylinders need proper handling. Extension cords must be rated and protected. Appliances need dry, stable surfaces. Canning needs tested recipes and correct processing methods. Food safety matters. Fire safety matters. Children and pets matter. Weather matters. Wind matters. If you move heat outside but create a fire or poisoning hazard, you did not learn old wisdom. You created modern danger in old clothing. Now, what would a smart modern summer kitchen look like? For some people, it is not a building. It is a shaded outdoor cooking station used only when conditions are safe. A grill kept a safe distance from the house, a sturdy table, a covered prep area, a hose or sink nearby if properly designed. A fire extinguisher is accessible. Good lighting. No loose cords. No cooking under a low combustible porch roof. No fuel stored carelessly. For another homeowner, it may be a screened porch with a safe electric appliance, not open flame. For another, it may be a garage-adjacent work zone with doors open, but only if ventilation, fire safety, and carbon monoxide risks are understood. For another, it may simply be a changing schedule. Cook early. Use no-oven meals. Use the range hood correctly. keep the kitchen door closed during hot jobs, run the dishwasher later. That may sound too simple, but simple habits repeated daily can change summer comfort. Old homes were built on repeated habits, not one dramatic hack. Now, let's talk about open floor plans. This is one of the biggest modern traps. Open kitchens look beautiful. They make a home feel bigger. They let people gather. They are wonderful for conversation. But in summer, an open kitchen also shares heat with everything. That oven is not only heating the kitchen, it is heating the living room, maybe the stairwell, maybe the upstairs hallway, maybe the thermostat area, maybe the whole first floor. Old homes often had more separation. Doors, thresholds, back kitchens, pantries, porches, service spaces. That separation could be inconvenient, but it also allowed control. A door is old technology. A closed door can stop heat, smell, noise, and humidity from spreading so fast. Modern homes removed many doors and then bought bigger systems to compensate. Again, that is the pattern. Remove passive control, add an active machine, pay monthly. The summer kitchen reminds us that separation is not always backward. Sometimes separation is comfort. Now let's connect this to porch shade. In the last video, we saw that the cheapest heat to remove is the heat that never touches the wall. The summer kitchen teaches a sister lesson. The cheapest indoor heat to remove is the heat you never create inside. Shade stops outside heat. Summer kitchens stop inside heat. Together, they change the whole house. A shaded porch protects the wall. A summer kitchen protects the living space. A ventilated attic releases roof heat. A sealed ceiling keeps cooled air where people live. This is not random content. This is the old home system. Each piece reduces the burden on the next. That is how Silas Yoder should teach these lessons. Layer by layer. Never one miracle. Always a system. Now let's tell the truth about cost. Some people will say, I cannot build a summer kitchen. Good. You do not have to. The cheapest version is not construction. It is awareness. Stop using the oven during the worst heat if you have a choice. Use lids on pots to reduce steam and cooking time. Match burner size to pan size. Use appliances efficiently. Use a range hood that vents outside when available. Cook early. Use outdoor cooking safely. Batch cook. Choose cooler meals during heat waves. Move canning outside only if you can do it safely and correctly. These are not glamorous steps, but they follow the old rule. Do not add heat when the house is already fighting. That is free wisdom. Now, the expensive version may make sense for some homes. A covered outdoor kitchen, a canning kitchen, a back porch cooking room, a detached work kitchen, but that should be designed, not improvised. Water supply and drainage must be correct. Electrical work must be safe. Fuel storage must be safe. Surfaces must be cleanable. Food prep must be sanitary. Screens may be needed for insects. Rodents must be considered. Ventilation must be real. Fire risk must be controlled. Local code matters. Insurance matters. The old farm version existed in a different world. Modern homeowners must adapt the principle, not blindly recreate the hazard. That is trust. Now let's talk about the deeper reason old kitchens were separate. The kitchen used to be a workroom, not just a lifestyle display. It was hot, messy, wet, smoky, greasy, dangerous, productive. Food came in from gardens and fields. It had dirt on it. It needed washing. Cutting, boiling, drying, canning, fermenting, storing. The kitchen was not just where dinner was plated, it was where survival was processed. Modern kitchens became social stages. Beautiful islands, pendant lights, open shelves, marble counters, camera-ready rooms. But the work did not disappear. It just became hidden inside the pretty room. And the heat stayed. The summer kitchen is a reminder that work has consequences. If you bring the work inside, you bring the heat inside. If you process summer food indoors, the house feels it. If you fry, boil, bake, and wash during peak heat, the AC feels it. This is not to blame. Families must eat. But once you understand the load, you can choose differently. That is the whole point. Choice. Old wisdom gives choice back. Now imagine two families. Family one has a hot kitchen every summer evening. They cook at 5:30. The oven runs, pasta boils. The dishwasher runs after dinner. The range hood recirculates. The kitchen opens to the living room. The west wall is hot. The attic is hot. The AC runs for hours. Everyone complains, but nothing changes. Family 2 does not have a fancy house, but they understand heat. They cook bigger meals in the morning during a heat wave. They use an outdoor grill safely when weather allows. They move canning to a shaded, ventilated, safe work area. They use lids. They run the dishwasher later. They vent cooking outside when possible. They close the kitchen from the rest of the house during the hottest work. They use porch shade and evening ventilation when conditions help. Same summer, different habits, different load. That is the difference between owning a house and being controlled by it. Now let's address the people who love to cook. This video is not telling you to stop cooking. It is telling you to respect the heat you create. A good meal has a thermal cost. A long bake has a thermal cost. A boiling pot has a moisture cost. A canning day has a comfort cost. Old families understood that cost because they paid it with sweat. Modern families pay it with electricity. The payment changed, the cost did not. That is why old methods still matter. They reveal the hidden bill behind ordinary habits. Now, what are the signs your kitchen heat is affecting the house? The kitchen stays warm long after dinner. The upstairs gets worse after cooking. The AC runs longer on cooking days. The living room feels humid. Windows fog during heavy boiling. Cabinets feel sticky. Cooking smells spread into bedrooms. The thermostat is far from the kitchen, but comfort still changes. The oven heats the room more than expected. The range hood does not vent outdoors. The family avoids the kitchen in summer. These are clues. The house is telling you the heat path. Listen. Now, what should you check this week? First, does your range hood vent outside? Many people have no idea. Some hoods simply recirculate through a filter. Some are ducted outdoors. Some ducts are disconnected. Some vent into an attic, which is a serious mistake. Cooking exhaust should not be dumped into the attic or crawl space. Heat, moisture, grease, and pollutants need proper handling. Second, what is your worst cooking hour? Third, what is your biggest heat job? Fourth, what can be moved, delayed, shortened, covered, or vented? Fifth, what safety limits apply? Do not skip the fifth. Old wisdom without safety is just nostalgia with consequences. Now let's bring it back to the Amish pattern. Plain communities often preserve practical habits because they are less dependent on instant convenience. They know routines: early work, seasonal work, batch work, outdoor work, shared work, repair before replace, function before display. The summer kitchen belongs to that mindset. It is not just a room, it is a rule. Do hot work where hot work hurts the house the least. That rule applies whether you live on a farm, in a suburban house, or in a small modern home. Maybe your summer kitchen is a real outbuilding. Maybe it is a screened porch. Maybe it is a safe outdoor burner for canning. Maybe it is a shaded grill station. Maybe it is simply a new habit: no oven at 5 in the evening during a heat wave. The rule is what matters, not romance. Now, I want you to feel the old house for a moment. A back door opens. You hear jars on a table. You smell tomatoes and vinegar. A pot is boiling outside the main rooms. The porch roof throws shade. The kitchen heat is not traveling up the stairs. The main house is quieter. The work is still hard. The day is still hot. But the heat is where it belongs. That is the difference. Not magic. Placement. Old people understood placement. Modern people often buy power because they forgot placement. That is the video. Place the heat better. Place the moisture better. Place the smoke better. Place the work better. And the house will fight less. So before you blame the AC, look at dinner. Before you blame the insulation, look at the oven. Before you blame the upstairs, look at the steam. Before you blame the thermostat, look at the open floor plan. Before you build anything, look at the heat path. Where is the heat created? Where does it travel? Where does it get trapped? How can you stop creating it inside at the worst time? That is the old summer kitchen question. And it may be one of the most practical questions a modern homeowner can ask. Because the house does not care whether heat came from the sun or the stove. Heat is heat. The AC must fight it either way. If the roof adds heat, the AC fights. If the attic stores heat, the AC fights. If the wall absorbs sun, the AC fights. If the kitchen boils steam into the room, the AC fights. If the oven runs at the worst hour, the AC fights. And if all of that happens on the same day, the homeowner pays. So no, the answer is not always a bigger unit. It is not always a new window. It is not always more insulation. Sometimes the answer is an old habit. Do not heat the house while trying to cool it. Simple, sharp, forgotten. That is why Amish homes had summer kitchens, and that is why the idea still matters. Now I want to hear from you. Did your grandparents have a summer kitchen, back kitchen, canning room, smokehouse, outdoor stove, or porch cooking setup? Does your kitchen overheat the house in summer? Does your range hood vent outside, or does it just blow air back into the room? Do you avoid using the oven during heat waves? Have you ever canned food outside to keep the house cool? And what state are you in? Real homes, real climates, real memories. Drop your story in the comments because this is one of those old lessons people remember the moment somebody says it out loud. And in the next video, we are going below the house again. Before refrigerators became normal, old families knew how to use earth, darkness, moisture, and airflow to keep food from spoiling. But the root cellar had rules. Break those rules and the food rotted faster. Follow them, and a simple underground room could do work modern families forgot. That is coming next.